The notification that changed everything wasn't even meant for me. It was a screenshot from a girl I'd never spoken to, asking why I was DMing her boyfriend, and the profile picture in that screenshot was my face. Let me back up. My name is Jaya, I'm 17, and until about 3 weeks ago, I thought I had a pretty solid life. I go to a mid-sized high school in the suburbs of Atlanta, the kind of school where everybody sort of knows everybody but nobody really knows anybody, you know? I had my group, my best friend Kiera, who I'd been close with since 6th grade, and then our wider circle, Marcus, Demi, and this girl Sola who transferred in sophomore year and just kind of fit. We weren't the popular kids, but we weren't invisible either. We existed in that comfortable middle space where you can go to a party if you want, but also spend Friday night on somebody's bedroom floor, eating hot Cheetos and watching bad movies, and nobody judges you for it. That was my life. Homework, track practice, group FaceTime calls that went on way too long, and this slow building thing with a guy named Ellis from my AP history class that I hadn't told anyone about yet because I didn't want to jinx it. Ellis and I weren't dating, but we were in that stage where you text every night and find excuses to sit near each other, and every time your hands accidentally touch, it feels like your whole nervous system reboots. I was happy. I was genuinely, boringly, beautifully happy. And I think that's important to say because when everything blew up, people kept trying to figure out what I did to cause it. Like happiness is a debt you owe someone, and eventually they come to collect. The thing about Kiera is that she had always been a little competitive with me, but in a way that felt normal. Like if I got a 94 on a test, she'd want to see my paper and then study harder for the next one. If I wore a cute outfit, she'd show up the next day looking like she stepped out of a Pinterest board. I never minded it. Honestly, I kind of liked it because it pushed me too. But there were these moments, small ones, the kind you brush off in the second they happen, where it felt like something sharper underneath. Sophomore year, I made varsity track and she didn't talk to me for 4 days. When I mentioned it, she said she'd just been busy, and I believed her because I wanted to. Junior year, I got asked to homecoming by this guy she thought was cute, and even though I said no because I wasn't interested, there was this weird frost between us for a week. She never said she was upset. She'd just get quiet, and I'd fill the silence by being extra nice, extra accommodating, extra whatever she needed me to be. Looking back, I can see the pattern so clearly it almost makes me angry at myself. But when you're inside a friendship that long, you don't see patterns. You just see your best friend having a bad day, and you show up for her because that's what you do. That's what I always did. It started on a Tuesday. I was in the bathroom between third and fourth period, just washing my hands, when Demi walked in looking at me like I had personally set fire to her house. She held up her phone without saying a word, and on it was an Instagram DM conversation. The profile said JRunsFest, which is close enough to my actual track handle that it could pass if you weren't looking carefully. The profile picture was a selfie of mine from last summer, when I had posted on my story and then let disappear. And in this DM conversation, I was telling some girl named Brianna that her boyfriend Trevon was flirting with me at a party, and that she should probably keep a closer eye on him. The tone was mean, not just messy, but calculated. It sounded like someone who wanted to start a fire and then watch it burn. Jaya, what is this? Demi said, and her voice was flat, not angry exactly, more like disappointed, which is honestly worse. I took her phone and read it twice because my brain could not process what I was seeing. That's not me, I said. Demi, I don't even know who Trevon is. She stared at me for a long time. Brianna is telling everyone in her grade that you're trying to break them up. She posted the screenshots on her story. I felt my stomach drop through the floor. I pulled up Instagram on my own phone and searched the handle, and there it was, a whole profile. My photos, my face, a bio that said ATL runner, say what everyone's thinking. It had 47 followers. It had been active for over 2 weeks. And the posts weren't just random. Whoever made this account knew things about me. They referenced inside jokes from our group. They mentioned the coffee shop where I studied. One caption even said something about AP history being the only reason to show up on Wednesdays, and I felt a chill run down my arms because that was something I had literally said in our group chat. By the time I got to lunch, it was already everywhere. Brianna had posted the screenshots, and because high school runs on drama the way cars run on gas, everybody had an opinion. People I had never spoken to were tagging me in comments saying I was two-faced. Some girl in the grade below me sent me a DM that just said, "You're disgusting." And I sat there in the cafeteria looking at my phone thinking this cannot be real. This cannot be my actual life right now. Kiera sat down next to me and put her arm around me and said, "We're going to figure this out, I promise." And I leaned into her because she was my best friend, and that's what you do. I reported the account to Instagram, but anyone who's ever tried to get a fake profile taken down knows it's not instant. It takes days sometimes. Meanwhile, the account was still active, still posting, still sending messages to people. I apparently also met a girl from the track team saying the coach played favorites, and I left a comment on some guy's post calling his girlfriend mid. Every single thing this account did was designed to make me look like the worst version of a person I would never be. I started getting anxious in a way I had never experienced before, like this low hum in my chest that wouldn't stop. I couldn't eat. I couldn't focus in class. Ellis texted me that night asking if I was okay because I had been quiet, and I almost told him everything, but I was scared. Scared that he would look at those screenshots and wonder, even for a second, if it was really me. So I just said I was tired. That was my first mistake. I started pulling away from the one person who might have actually helped because I was too proud or too scared to be honest. Meanwhile, I became obsessed with figuring out who made the account. I stayed up until 2 in the morning scrolling through the follower list, trying to figure out who would do this. I made a spreadsheet. I literally made a spreadsheet of every person who followed the fake account, and when they followed it, and whether I recognized their name. I felt like I was losing my mind, and the worst part was that at school, I had to pretend I was fine, because showing that it was getting to me felt like letting whoever did this win. Here's what I haven't told you yet. About a week into all of this, I was at Kiera's house. We were sitting on her bed and she was helping me draft a message to send to Brianna explaining the account was fake. Kiera went to the bathroom and her laptop was open on the bed. I wasn't going to look. I genuinely was not going to look. But the screen was on her Instagram, and I saw, right there in her search history, the handle JRunsFest. Not just searched once, searched multiple times, over weeks. And then I saw a draft folder open in another tab. It was a Notes app screenshot, and in it was a list of captions. Captions that had been posted on the fake account, word for word, written in my best friend's handwriting voice. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the laptop. When she came back from the bathroom, I looked at her and she looked at me, and I swear she knew. She knew I saw it, and neither of us said a single word. So here's where things stand. I confronted Kiera 2 days later over text because I physically could not do it in person. She denied it at first, then went quiet for 6 hours, then sent me a long message saying she didn't know why she did it, that she had been feeling like she was disappearing next to me, that she never meant for it to go this far. She said she originally made the account as a joke, and then it became something she couldn't stop. She cried, I cried. We haven't spoken since. The account is gone. Most people at school have moved on because that's what people do. Ellis and I are talking again, but it's different now, and I hate that. What I keep going back to is the moment she put her arm around me in the cafeteria and said we'd figure it out. She was comforting me for something she did, and I keep asking myself, should I forgive her? She was my best friend for 5 years. She clearly was dealing with something real even if she handled it in the worst possible way. But every time I think about forgiving her, I remember that she watched me fall apart and said nothing. So tell me, if this happened to you, could you forgive her? And be honest, because I still don't know if I can.